Hi everyone, so it is that time again. It is basically the season of the sale. So I probably will do a general sale video like I've done before. I've talked about my thoughts on sales and some general advice, but this is specifically related to the Sephora sale, which has just started. It's for Rouges first, and then it's for VIBs and just regular beauty insiders. I think it's 20% off, 15% off, and 10% off, respectively. I am Rouge, or am Rouge at least until the end of the year. We'll see if I make Rouge for 2020, but that's not the point of this video. I want to talk about the sale, and a lot of people go kind of crazy with the sale. They see big Sephora sale of the year, let's buy all the things. And I did purchase a few things, which I am going to talk about, my reasons why, and just some of my general thoughts, some advice that I have. Take it or leave it. I'm not telling you what to do, just some stuff that I've learned along the way. 20% off, so in my case for Rouge, is not necessarily a huge number. It might seem that way, and for some people it definitely might make quite a big difference. For me, 20% off is essentially 5% off because tax here where I am is 15%. So I get the items basically tax-free, an additional 5% off. It does matter though. I mean, every little bit counts when you don't have a whole lot of disposable income, and that's where I am. And I think that's an important thing to talk about because not everybody has a lot of money that they can just throw at buying whatever things they want. For me, money is definitely the biggest thing. So I'm definitely trying to shop smarter, a lot smarter than I have been, but that doesn't mean that I'm not purchasing anything. And in my case, I have sort of three general categories. So I have already made my order. It's already shipped. I don't have it yet, so this isn't a haul video, but it's kind of a haul video because I'm going to talk about the things that I did buy or the things that I am getting because I did also go for the points. But okay, so the first thing I have is the Cinema Secrets brush cleaner. You know, I'm not going to even show any pictures or anything. I'm not trying to encourage you to buy these things. I'm just telling you what I bought. This is not a recommendations video. So I bought the Cinema Secrets brush cleaner. I just opened my last bottle of it, the big full-size bottle. I purchased the Becca under eye corrector, which I had run out of about a month ago. I purchased the Urban Decay Naked Skin pink concealer, which is also for underneath the eye. So both those things are things I use underneath the eye. I do use them in different ways, which is why I like to have both of them. One is a liquid and one is more of a cream. So I rotate them depending on what kind of foundation I'm using, or even if I'm just, you know, maybe concealing a little bit. I tend to just generally use a mixture of like a foundation or like a liquid kind of concealer with the under eye corrector instead of layering on like concealer and powder. That's why I use those two. And those are both repurchases. They're essentially holy grail statuses. I do have a tiny bit left of the Urban Decay one, but I did make this order at one time because I'm stretching the life of the Urban Decay one. Basically, I'm hoping it will last long enough until the two things arrive. And the last thing I purchased is the full size of the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Oil. So I previously used two sample sizes. I didn't necessarily use it just as a face primer, although I did like mixing it with foundation. Right now I have a few uses left of a regular hydrating primer. It's not really hydrating, but it says that it is. It's a drugstore one, and everything else I have is mattifying, which isn't great, but I find that if I can mix the mattifying primer with some other things, it will be workable. So I thought this would be the best thing for me since my skin has been so dry that using a matte face primer on its own isn't practical. So I had considered also purchasing the Makeup Forever Hydrating Primer, which is something that I really love using, but I decided to just stick with the Smashbox for now. I may purchase the travel size of the Makeup Forever when the Smashbox one arrives if I find that it doesn't work the way that I want it to work with the matte one. That way I have a standalone hydrating face primer. I have a plan for all these products because I'm hoping to eliminate the mattifying face primers entirely right now because I just don't need that. My skin is too dry, and then just have a couple of primers. I did not repurchase the Becca one. There's a few things that I do want, but I'm trying to use up those mattifying ones. I just need to use them with other things. Okay, so that is the 4 things that I purchased. I also traded in points. I ended up trading in 1,100 points. So I bought 2 500 point perks, or traded the points in for 2 500 point perks and 1 100 point perk. The 100 point perk was an exfoliating toner from Glam Glow, which I thought might help with some of my skin issues. I have been struggling a little bit with exfoliating and toning and kind of finding the right combination for my skin because I've been dealing with a lot of skin issues, so I thought that I would give that a shot. I also picked up a hair and body one from Away, so it has a couple of hair things and a couple of body products. Since I've been into more body moisturizers, I thought that I would trade in the points for it. And then for fun, the Bare Minerals one. So this is some color products because I wanted some stuff to play with. For me, the points is the way I kind of get my kicks sometimes because I can trade in for a few like fun, colorful products, things to play around with. I do want to use all my older products, obviously, or at least as much of it as I possibly can, but I don't have a problem with new things coming in. With me, as I said, it's mostly about the money. So I'm trading in points. I have a lot of points and I do try and use them strategically, like trading in for mascara. There is a little mascara in the Bare Minerals one, which I will keep put aside and use when I need to replace my current mascara because that will help as well. So I like to use my points that way for little things like little hair masks and stuff like that. Stuff that will help me, but it's also fun to just kind of treat yourself that way in a way that's costing me nothing because the points are already there. So let's break down the categories a little bit further and I'll kind of explain my reasoning and my advice. Again, as I said before, take it or leave it. It may apply to your situation, it may not. You may have a differing opinion and that is totally okay. I'm just trying to give a little food for thought, maybe give some advice, maybe some things that you hadn't considered or things that maybe you forgot or overlooked, because it's easy to get overwhelmed with the sales. It's easy to kind of convince yourself it's a good deal if you're bombarded with all these emails and all these posts and videos from people telling you to buy this and buy that and everyone's sharing what they bought, that it's really easy to get kind of sucked into it. So the first thing, I do not recommend backups. I really don't. Now, some people love using sales to repurchase things. Now for me, I did buy one backup and that is my Cinema Secrets brush cleaner. That is tried, tested, and true. I know there's not going to be anything else I'm going to want to use as a brush cleaner except for that product. So having the extra bottle on hand is useful for me. I did purchase the last one during a previous sale as well, so it really is something that I will restock when sale time comes, but I buy one backup. I don't tend to buy more than that. I buy kind of as I expect I will need it. I don't want to have too many. I don't want to spend too much money at one time when I don't need to spend the money right away. I'd rather buy things when I need them and not just have a whole pile of them. Some people I hear will buy like 5 foundations, 10 mascaras, like they just buy like all their moisturizers, everything. And I just don't think that's necessarily smart. Sales come around frequently. Sephora has been adding in more and more sales. So I don't think you need to buy a whole bunch of backups at one time, and especially not something that isn't a holy grail, definite product that you are not going to change your opinion on. So that also ties in with repurchases. So I look at the Becca one as a repurchase, the Urban Decay one as a repurchase. These are products that I have used before, used completely or almost completely before I purchased the new one. I don't recommend buying things before you finished the majority of the product because your opinion on the product may change. Your skin may change, your needs may change. I think it's really important to consider that. Some people will use a product 10 times and be like, I love this, this is great. Oh, a sale, I'm gonna buy a backup. And then they get bored of that product they were using, or their skin doesn't like it anymore. They have to use something else instead. And so then the product stays unfinished and you have a whole new one that stays untouched as well. So I think it's really important to consider repurchases as things you are almost completely out of or completely out of. And it can be smart to kind of stretch the time between sales if it's a possibility for you, depending on how much stuff you have. I happen to have accumulated a lot of stuff. So in general, I can stretch some things. I'm definitely running low in certain categories, like the under eye corrector. I don't have a stockpile of them. So when I run out and I need to have the new thing. But for some other categories, I can mix things together for a month or two until either I save the money for the product or there's a sale or some combination of the two. I don't think repurchasing something in a different category is necessarily smart either. This is because the temptation to use that new product instead of the old things you have will be so strong, it will overcome you. You'll be like, oh, I'll just try this. I'll just test it out. I just bought it. I want to, you know, use this face primer instead of this other one. I keep going back to face primers because it's my specific thing, but you know, whatever product it is that you were trying to finish up, maybe it's a lip balm. You're like, you know what, I'm gonna buy a new lip balm for when I finish my old one. And then all of a sudden you have that new one. You're like, I'm gonna use this new one. I'm gonna play with this new one. I'm gonna use this. Oh, I like this one so much better than my old one. Well, I'll just put the old one aside. I'll pan that later. And you use the new one, and that old one sits there. And then you use that one until you get kind of bored of that one. And then you're like, well, maybe I'll buy a new one, another sale. And kind of then all these products start accumulating. That's my experience anyway, is that it's really easy to kind of get into that cycle. And then you're looking at 8 mattifying face primers and you're like, how did this happen? How did I let it get this far? So the Smashbox primer oil could be considered one of those things. I am hoping to use it in conjunction with those. So for me, it's a smart purchase. It could also be a new product. So I'd say there's kind of like those 3 general categories: new products, fun stuff. I think a lot of color cosmetics would fall under this category because chances are you're not completely out of eyeshadow if you've been using eyeshadow at all. You know, stuff like lipstick, blush, these like new fun things. Man, if you want it, go buy it. If you've thought about it, if you've read reviews, seen reviews, if you've done your research, if you really feel like, you know what, this is going to make a difference in the way that I do my makeup and I'm gonna love this thing, go for it. Because if you're shopping smart, you're not gonna regret the purchase. But if there's even that little bit of regret already before you buy it, if you're second guessing yourself, thinking, do I really need this thing? You know, maybe I want it, but do I really need it? Maybe that's your sign. Just trust yourself that you don't actually need this thing just because there's a sale. A lot of people justify those impulse buys because it's a sale. So why not? When is this going to come around again? I don't know, every couple of months there's a sale. Every site has a sale. Every brand has a sale. Every retailer pretty much at this point has some sort of sale. So it's not like you're never going to come across a sale again. So I don't think that's a good excuse. I don't think that's a good enough excuse just to buy something just because you want it, unless you are in a position to do so, obviously. So I am speaking from my own experience here, but just something to consider. You know, I don't necessarily have that extra money to be like, I'm just gonna buy that $60 eyeshadow palette, no big deal. It's a sale, it's fine. When it's not fine, because I really didn't need that thing. It's not gonna add anything to the way I do my makeup, as opposed to like an under eye corrector or a foundation, or not buying anything at all, because you are not saving money by spending money, period. And I just think so many people get carried away with sales because it's easy to do so, and everybody talks about it like it's normal, how they are buying so many things. I've seen people share screenshots in different like Facebook groups and on Twitter where they're like, look at my Sephora cart with like 40 items in it, being like, I'm buying all these things. And it seems a little extreme, especially if it's a lot of repeat stuff in the same category. Like some people will be like, I'm buying 5 eyeshadow palettes. You're not gonna be able to enjoy that. There's no way you're gonna be able to enjoy every single eyeshadow palette, because you're gonna play with one and then maybe another, and you're not gonna have time to really enjoy all 5 of them, you know, because it's too many things. It's too many. And I think some people just really see the word sale and it just completely destroys their brain a little bit, and they just go completely nutty. And I really hope that a lot of us can kind of get away from that. You know, I've definitely been one of those people that's been like the massive haul, and it's easy to get sucked into that when you see so many other people are doing it, and you can kind of talk yourself into it. But let's not use those examples. Let's think for ourselves. I think that's really important. One of the biggest things that I've learned sort of on my no-buy journey is just thinking for myself instead of what people are doing for them. What's working for somebody else isn't necessarily going to work for you. So anyway, I hope some of this was helpful anyway. I just really want people to think about their sale purchases, because I think we would all just be so much happier with what we have. And I feel like a lot of people end up complaining and they just aren't happy with their makeup because they just end up with too much of it. And if I can help anybody not get to the point that I got to, I would feel so good, because, you know, I definitely went off the deep end with the sales, with the purchasing, with the panning and all that stuff. So I just really want to try and help people to curb that sort of accumulation before it just spirals out of control. So anyway, that is all for me. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if there's anything you would like me to talk about regarding sales, if you need or want any particular advice or help. If I can be of any guidance, I would love to share what I can, even if a little tiny tidbit helps along the way for you. I would love to do that. Let me know your thoughts on sales as well. How do you handle it? Are you a repurchaser? Are you a restocker? Do you use it to buy those new products you've had your eye on? I'm curious to hear how other people handle sales like this, especially if you are on a no buy or a low buy. All right, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are, and I hope we get a chance to chat soon. Bye for now.